Hey, what's up? We're back, and we're going to be doing the post weigh-in breakdown that I did last week with UFC Nashville. And I have a lot of the same picks on this one. I mean, my first pick of the night with Eric Shelton versus Jordan Espinosa. You know, I did hear a few good arguments for Jordan Espinosa in terms of why people think he's going to win. He's a state champion wrestler. He looks fairly athletic for sure. He's a dynamic fighter, good kicks. I mean, I think that he's probably the more likely to finish the fight, the more likely guy to, look more dynamic in there. But for some reason, I just feel like, his UFC debut coming against a guy like Eric Shelton. Eric Shelton's fought a lot of guys, man. He's fought like the who's who of the divisions, the Pantojas, the Jared Brookses. I mean, not the who's who, but elite guys in the division. Alex Perez, guys that are very good. I mean, Alex Perez is just coming off fighting Joseph Benavidez, who's one of the best flyweights of all time. So, Eric Shelton's been in there with some pretty stiff competition. He's fared fairly well. I mean, he's always in those very close fights, and he definitely needs to learn how to pull the trigger more. But I did feel like he looked better in his last fight. He didn't. Wasn't a close fight in my opinion. It was a split decision. I don't really know why, but I thought he won with the wrestling. He dominated. And I just have to see Jordan Espinosa beat a top guy. He hasn't fought anyone really that good. He has a lot of questionable losses as well. I mean, he's lost to, a lot of guys like that are not very good. I mean, when you look at like Dennis Paiva, he's 12-5, but I mean, he has Dennis Paiva. Yeah, he lost to Rico DeSulo, which we saw in the Dana White Contender Series. And, he has a lot of fights at 135 and a lot of fights at 125. And I believe that he definitely is better at 125. So, but, I mean, he does have, in his most recent fights, a split decision. And then he had that war with, on the Dana White Contender Series. So, it's not like he's running these guys out the water. He's looking impressive, but he isn't looking extremely impressive. So, I'm going to stick with Eric Shelton to get it done there. Then for Chris Gutierrez, Ryan McDonald, in terms of skill set, I really feel like Chris Gutierrez is better. I feel like he could attack that lead leg. Ryan McDonald always gets hurt. He gets hurt in a lot of fights. He gets dropped hard, has that tall man defense. But, man, I mean, as this week goes on, I'm just getting this weird feeling that, McDonald might be able to get it done here. It's just like Gutierrez, he has some sort of mental block to me. I mean, the way that he's talking, I listened to an interview where he's talking to James Litz about his fight with Raoni Barcelos, and he's saying that he was broken the day he woke up, and it's like, those are some major red flags. I mean, I feel like he definitely should get it done. I'm going to stick with him to get it done, but I'm not as confident as I was earlier, and I'm not as confident as his skill set should indicate, because I feel like this guy maybe is a bit of a head case. So if Ryan McDonald goes in there, gets hurt, is able to weather the storm and continue to come forward, maybe it'll break Chris Gutierrez. Who knows? But obviously you have to favor the more skilled guy, in my opinion. But Ryan McDonald's proven to be tough. Definitely think he's tougher, more mentally tough than Chris Gutierrez. And that could play dividends in the fight. That could potentially give Ryan McDonald the win if it's that type of fight where maybe he gets hurt early, he's able to survive, and then start wearing on Gutierrez. But, I'm going to stick with my original pick, Chris Gutierrez. Still feel like, if he's in the right mindset, if he's looking good, he's turned on, he should get the win here. He's beating a lot better guys as well. He's beating guys like Jimmy Flick, etc. So, then up next, Randa Marcos versus Angela Hill. And actually, I'm a little more confident in Angela Hill after the week. I mean, I'm still not going to have any action on this fight. I wouldn't warrant a play on either woman, but Angela Hill looks pretty good. She looks in shape. She's talking pretty confidently about how she feels like she should be a winner of 3 in a row. She gave Jessica Andrade a tough fight. And, she feels like she's still competitive with the top girls. And she's looking upwards towards that title shot. So even if you think, oh, that's unrealistic, get real, Angela type thing. I mean, she still has a good mindset, good skill set. And she's looking upwards. She's not thinking like, I got to win one fight and we'll see what happens. Where I feel like Randa Marcos, she doesn't have that mental toughness in terms of thinking that she's one of the best. I think that she still has that block, obviously. I mean, she's talked about it before with working with these mental coaches, things like that. And I just think that if Randa Marcos, if Angela Hill comes in and she's in shape, she's moving, she's grooving, she's using that footwork, she's able to stop the takedowns, I think Randa Marcos might break, man, because after that first round, Randa Marcos definitely slows down. Angela Hill slows down as well, but Angela could push it a little more, and I feel like Angela Hill's just a lot better on the feet. I think that, I'm just a little more confident that Angela Hill's going to get it done here, but obviously, like I said, I wouldn't play either person there at all. Then up next with Alexis Davis, Jennifer Maia. Alexis Davis is still the favorite here. Jennifer Maia is a slight underdog. Alexis Davis looked yoked at those weigh-ins today, man. She was ripped. She looked in like the best shape she looked in a long time. So looks like she's taking this very serious. I think she knows that she has these 2 losses in a row with her age at a new weight class. That kind of signifies the end of her career as a potential title challenger. So definitely needs a big win here, and Maia does as well. Maia came into the UFC with a lot of hype, the Invicta champion, and she loses 2 in a row. That's not a good look. I mean, that would, she probably would have to go fight someone outside the top 15 and try to work her way back up, which is very hard in the UFC. And so both these girls are going to have a lot of urgency, in my opinion, and it's just going to be whether Alexis Davis is able to eat those shots, come in like a scarecrow that she is, just come through and get the takedowns, get on top, and potentially get a submission or land a lot of ground and pound on Maia. But I'm still fairly confident Jennifer Maia gets it done here. I mean, people are talking about how she got dominated by Liz Carmouche, which I don't think she got dominated. I thought she won a round. I thought she looked fairly good striking. Actually, I thought her striking was better than in her Invicta fights. And people are saying that Alexis Davis is much stronger potentially, that she could win in the clinch, which is a possibility. But Maia isn't a weak girl. She has good double underhooks. She could push fighters against the clinch herself. She controlled Liz Carmouche there in that position in the first round for a couple minutes. So, I mean, she definitely has a lot of strength there. And I just think she's the younger girl, and I think that it's going to be a very close fight, maybe even a split decision. I mean, both those girl fights could potentially be split decisions, but, I'm going to stick with Jennifer Maia. I'm going to say that she gets it done. And, yeah, I'm going to stick with Jennifer Maia in that fight. And Marlon Vera, Frankie Saenz. Though this was a pretty good stare down. Marlon Vera was right in Frankie Saenz's face. Frankie was, I thought he looked a little bit old, to be honest with you. I think that this long layoff for Frankie Saenz might show a little bit, but he's obviously a live dog with the way that he fights, the way that he could get these takedowns potentially. And his striking is not bad, and he's still a junkyard dog, man. He'll fight to the end. But Chito Vera, I mean, he looked pumped up at the weigh-ins. I think that this is a guy that he knows that this is his time. This is his time to get going, get aggressive, get finishes. He has that ability, man. He has the ability to get finishes. And if he just puts it to Frankie Saenz, walks him down, does his thing, is able to, I mean, he could attack off his back as well, but I would say try to defend those takedowns, make him pay in the clinch with those big knees, those big elbows, all those big shots off the break. And just try to take Frankie Saenz out of there, man. Make a statement. A lot of guys haven't been able to take out Frankie Saenz. He's a guy that's fought a lot of really good guys, even lately where he's fought, guys like Augusto Mendez, tooth and nail. He's fought guys like Merab and beat Merab. He fought, who was the other guy that he recently has a victory over? Where he took him down at will. Some other, can't remember right now, where he took this guy down at will in his last fight. So Frankie Saenz, he's still, he's still kicking, he's still fighting out there, but I think that Chito Vera is just that next level for him. I think he's a little too athletic, he's going to be a little too aggressive, and he's going to be able to get Frankie Saenz out of there. So I'm going with Marlon Chito Vera, and, I have fairly good confidence in that fight, even though it's hard to be extremely confident in Chito Vera, but I do feel like for this card, that's a very difficult card to have plays on. He is potentially one of the safer plays on the card. Then up next, Bobby Moffett versus Bryce Mitchell. And originally I was on Bryce Mitchell here. And, man, I've been really flip-flopping a little bit on this fight. When I saw the weigh-ins today, Bobby Moffett looked a lot bigger than Bryce Mitchell. We saw Bryce Mitchell before in the past talk about how he, only weighed 146 pounds the day of the fight when he fought last fight against Tyler Diamond. And he's weighing 160 now, but he still, to me, looked significantly smaller than Bobby Moffett. Everyone knows what Bobby Moffett's game plan is going to be here. And, man, I'm actually going to switch my pick. I'm going to pick Bobby Moffett. I think Bobby Moffett's going to be able to get the takedowns, man. I think that the size is going to maybe be a little too much. Bryce Mitchell, he's a hard-nosed guy. He's going to fight really hard. I don't think he's ever going to give up. He's not going to give Moffett an inch here, but I think that, I didn't realize the size difference with these guys, and I feel like if Bobby Moffett can muscle this dude, get him to the ground, he could have his way with him potentially. So I'm going to switch my pick here. I'm going to go with Bobby Moffett, pick him to win. I might even say he could submit Bryce Mitchell. But Bryce Mitchell's a very tough guy, man. He's not going to go out of there easy. I think he's going to be probably the quicker striker on the feet. So I'm going to say it's going to be a decision, but I'm going to switch my pick there to Bobby Moffett. Then I'm next Macy Barber against JJ Aldridge. And, man, I've been really looking forward to this fight. This is one of my favorite fights on the card here. And, I'm sticking with Macy Barber to get the win. But JJ Aldridge, she looks very, what's the word I'm trying to use? She looks very confident here. She was right in Macy Barber's face. She looks like she's someone that, she's ready to do her thing. She's not deterred by the hype train, and she's going to try to go in there and fight the best she can. She said that she's been trying to move up to 125 forever, and I don't know how much I believe that. Just because, to me, she doesn't look very big. I mean, she looks like she wasn't in the greatest shape today on the scales. I mean, she wasn't ripped. Neither was Barber either, but, they're both going to be able to go in there and have a war. They're going to throw down, in my opinion. I mean, I think that the only thing here with JJ Aldridge is she just fights at too slow of a pace. I think that Barber's going to be able to speed her up. Barber's going to be able to force her to fight at a frenetic pace and eventually just get those takedowns, man. And I think that once she gets in top position, she's going to be able to land some big shots. She's going to be able to keep JJ Aldridge on the ground. So that's how I see this fight kind of going still. But, JJ Aldridge, she's someone that you can't sleep on. You can't sit there and say that JJ has no chance in this fight, because she definitely does. And, but I just think that Barber, she did look jacked, man. I mean, when you looked at her media day scrum, I mean, her arms are huge, man. So she's definitely someone that's coming in there in good physical condition. She looks like she's probably in a lot better shape than she has been in her previous fights due to being off that diet and stuff. So, she should be feeling good, ready to go. And I do have a play with Macy Barber and Stephen Thompson in a parlay, so that's one of my plays that I have for this week. Told you guys I would tell you my bets, so that's one of my plays I have for 3 units right there, Macy Barber and Stephen Thompson. And, I'm fairly confident in that fight. I think Macy Barber, even if it's a close fight with a decision as well, I feel like the UFC definitely wants her to win. They're setting her up with the matchup they feel she can win. And although JJ Aldridge is someone that I really respect, and I feel like she should go back to 115 and do her thing down there, but we'll see what happens. But I'm going to go with Macy Barber. And then Luis Pena versus Steven Peterson. Man, I mean, I had 2.5 units on Steven Peterson. Had half a unit on him winning inside the distance. Got those at plus 240, plus 460. So really like that play now. I mean, Luis Pena, he seems a little delusional to me, man. I mean, you saw him. He's a little bit of a guy that is a little bit of a head case, in my opinion, where in his fight with Trezano, you could see him mentally breaking when he's getting hit, things like that. He drops down a weight class immediately after his first loss. And then all the time this week, he's been saying things like, yeah, man, I mean, I barely even have to cut any weight to make 145. I'm going to make this weight with ease. I could probably make 135s. He's hyping it up. 145 is going to be his weight class. He's going to be successful here in the UFC at 145. And then what happens, man? He comes in this morning on the scale. He looks like a dead man walking. I mean, he looks like a crackhead almost. And misses weight by 3.5 pounds. He's like leaning over, trying to breathe air into his system right off the scale. And I didn't like to see that, man. I mean, he looked super depleted. Hopefully this fight happens. I mean, I feel like Pena's going to show up, but that's the type of weight cut where potentially, he could be sick in the morning, or the fight could be pulled off, something, where maybe this fight doesn't happen. But I hope it does, because I have some money on Ocho Peterson. And, obviously Peterson isn't a skilled guy. He's someone that's going to walk forward, take shots. But, man, I mean, he's someone that you never have to question his heart. You're never going to question his mental stability in there. You're never going to question his cardio in there. And he's much more experienced than Luis Pena. And I feel like he's going to break this guy, man. I really feel like that really deep down, man. I really am pretty confident in this fight. I feel like Ocho Peterson is going to go in there. He's going to break this guy, man. He has a lot of confidence. I mean, he's talking at 47 May that his coach, Sayud, said that he wants him to be a top 15 fighter by the end of the year. If he doesn't achieve that, then he feels like that's a underachievement for himself. So if he thinks he's a top 15, he has to come out here and take out a guy like Luis Pena. And man, that's kind of what I think is going to happen here. I think he's going to maybe have a rough start. Pena's going to be piecing him up a little bit, landing some shots, but Pena does not have power. He's not going to keep a dog like Ocho Peterson off of him, and Ocho's going to eventually be able to get in there, start to, land some of his own shots, get in on those legs, push him against the cage, start throwing some of his leg kicks, hitting him with those knees in the clinch, knees to the head, to the body, just working him, taking him down. And I think Luis Pena is going to break in there, man. So I'm really confident. My pick, Steven Ocho Peterson, like I said, I have 2.5 units on him at plus 240 and the half unit for the inside the distance plus 460. And hopefully those both cash for me. I was really kind of uplifted by how Luis Pena looked at the weigh-in, thinking that maybe I will hit both of these. I'm a little more confident after today, so hoping Steven Ocho Peterson gets it done. I'm a fan of the guy's, just the way that he fights, his heart as well, so hopefully he can go in there and get it done, man. I mean, he's a fun fighter to watch, and for Luis Pena, I mean, you'd think this is probably his last fight at 145 now, so it's hard to see what he's going to do here. I mean, is he going to win this fight, then move back up to 155 if he wins? Is he going to... I mean, I could see the UFC telling him if he loses this fight in a bad way, gets knocked out early the first round or something, I could see them saying, hey, man, how about you go on the regional scene, win a couple fights, and then hit us back up, because he only has 6 fights, and missing weight like this, moving weight classes, all this type of stuff. I mean, it just shows that he's still learning. He's still evolving. He's still trying to find his way in this MMA game. So definitely think Ocho Peterson, he's an established guy. He's the guy that's more focused, in my opinion, has more heart. And he's going to break Luis Pena. So I'm going to say Steven Ocho Peterson with 3rd round TKO or submission in that fight. Then Jussier Formiga versus Davis and Figueiredo. Everyone, I mean, seems like is super confident in Davis and Figueiredo here. I mean, giving Jussier no love whatsoever, which I'm pretty surprised at, man. I mean, Jussier is a guy that's fought the who's who of the division. I know Davison just fought John Moraga, but besides John Moraga, I mean, he's fought Jared Brooks, and I thought he lost that fight. Those are his 2 hardest fights. And, the fight with John Moraga, man, if you really go back and watch that, I urge people to go back and watch that and just watch Moraga's posturing. I mean, you saw at the weigh-ins, it was an explosive weigh-in at the stare down. John Moraga, Davison were talking shit to each other. And John Moraga fought very, very aggressive in this fight. I think that he was a little bit... he was fighting a little bit out of his head. I think he was a little bit mad at Figueiredo. He wanted to hurt him, wanted to get his hands on him. He was lunging in. He was giving Figueiredo very easy body lock entries. And Jussier is going to be moving, man. Jussier is going to be using that Jared Brooks game plan. And he's going to be moving. He's going to be chopping those legs. He's going to be throwing 1-2s down the pipe. And we're going to have to see if Davis can cut him off, man. We're going to have to see if Davis can cut him off without chasing, without getting taken down. And I've never seen Davison do that. So I see how these people have extreme confidence in Davison Figueiredo. He is a guy that looks very good. I mean, he's knocking people out. He's knocking people dead at the 125-pound division. And I've never seen someone do that to John Moraga. So it's very impressive, the things that he's doing. But, I mean, this is a guy that had a rough, decently good fight with Joseph Morales. In my opinion, lost to Jared Brooks. And these were not that long ago. So to me, man, I feel like Jussier is getting a little bit disrespected here. And I think Jussier is going to be able to just move around, land some shots. I think Figueiredo is going to get over aggressive. He's going to take him down. It's going to be rinse and repeat, man. I think he's going to be able to do that for at least 2 to 3 rounds. And if he gets hit with a big shot, just has to stay calm, survive. I mean, that's Davison's way to win this fight, in my opinion. I think via decision. I think Jussier will win the fight. So I think Jussier should be able to stay away from Davis and Figueiredo. It is a tough fight for him. It's a scary fight for anyone in that division, but I'm going to go with Jussier, De Silva, Formiga to get it done here. And I think it's going to be by decision in that fight. Then up next, John Makdessi versus Jesus Pinedo. And man, I mean, Jesus Pinedo is another guy that looked super, super confident at the weigh-ins. He was stared right in John Makdessi's soul, man, and Makdessi was literally retracting back like he didn't want he didn't want anything to do with those mind games, man. I'm not saying he was scared or nervous, but he definitely was leaning back, and Jesus was kind of like towering over him. So Jesus definitely won the stare down, but don't think he's going to be able to win the fight here. I mean, I definitely think he's a guy that's very aggressive. He's going to go out there and he's going to try to put it to John Makdessi, and I think that Makdessi's going to have some hairy moments here. I think he might get rocked. I think he might get taken down. I think that Pinedo is going to come in here and make it a war. I mean, if Makdessi is able to angle off, land a big shot early, and knock him out, that would solve all his troubles. He wouldn't be able to. He'll be able to go out easy, not have a hard fight. But man, I think this young kid Pinedo, I don't think he's going to be afraid of John Makdessi, man. I think that he's going to go in there and try to take him out, try to take him down and take him out. So definitely think that Pinedo is a lot more live than the line indicates, and I definitely feel like he could win this fight, man. I'm getting this weird feeling that Pinedo is going to go in there and get it done. I mean, I'm not going to pick him just because obviously the skill set, and when I broke the fight down, everything pointed to me towards John Makdessi getting the win. I just think he's a little more polished, but if this Pinedo guy could finish John Makdessi, I think that it's a very possible thing. I wouldn't parlay up John Makdessi. I wouldn't bet him. I just think that that's kind of a ridiculous line. It's hard to trust him at that line. And, yeah, so I definitely think that's a dog or pass line there with John Makdessi and Jesus Pinedo. And then Curtis Blaydes versus Justin Willis. A lot of people are giving me shit on this pick, just like last week with Gunnar Nelson, man. And hit the one with Gunnar Nelson. But, I'm not quite as confident as I was in Leon Edwards, obviously, where I had my biggest play of the year thus far on Leon Edwards. But with Justin Willis, man, I do have a play on Justin Willis. I have a 1.5 unit play on him. And, man, I think, or 2 units, I'm sorry. And I do feel like, he gets under these guys' skin, man. I mean, you can tell Curtis Blaydes wants to go in there and have a fight now. He seems a little bit angry, but he wasn't really engaging with them in the trash talk. He obviously didn't let it get in his head that much, but he's chirping a little bit on social media. Willis is definitely, in my opinion, giving him a little bit more motivation, but also maybe make a mistake now. But man, I mean, I just feel like Justin Willis is super confident here for a reason. I feel like he knows something that we don't know in terms of his takedown defense. I think it's going to be much harder than Curtis Blaydes thinks to take down this guy, Justin Willis, man. I mean, he's been traded with Cade, traded with DC for years, and Curtis Blaydes, I mean, he's not at that level of wrestling, and I just feel like he's just not that speed, man. These guys, I even think Justin Willis, who a lot of people think he's a slow, he's a slow-paced, plodding type guy, but in terms of his hand speed, in terms of the way that he can move, in my opinion, the way he can move laterally, if he wants to, I feel like he's just a little bit faster than Curtis Blaydes. He's not as stiff, and that's going to be big dividends in this fight, man. I think that that's really going to be the fight. I think it's going to be that Justin Willis is not as stiff as Blaydes, and I think Blaydes is going to be looking like he's wobbling in, he's a little slow, and Justin Willis is going to be able to use that lateral footwork, his takedown defense, and just piece this guy up, man. And I think it's going to be an easy fight for Justin Willis. So picking Justin Willis to win that fight, sticking with it. And if I'm wrong, I know all you motherfuckers are going to come get me back. So I'm expecting it. I'm expecting the comments. If I'm wrong, make sure to go on down there and talk shit. Tell me how big of an idiot I am, because obviously I'm coming out here and I'm saying that Justin Willis is going to win easy. So if he doesn't win, then I am an idiot, I guess, in terms of that one matchup. I can't deny it. So hopefully Justin Willis doesn't prove me wrong here, but going with Justin Willis and to get the job done there. Then Stephen Thompson versus Anthony Pettis. I mean, Pettis has been saying all the right things again, but when he doesn't say the right things, man? It seems like every single fight, him and Duke are saying this is the best camp he's ever had. He's back to be at Showtime. He's coming back, and on the scale, he actually looked decent. I mean, he looked a little bit, thick, where he wasn't in, I wouldn't say he's in great shape, but he had some muscle on him. I mean, he's not as big as Stephen Thompson. I mean, let's just say it like that. It's obvious that Stephen Thompson's the much longer, bigger guy here, and yeah, so I'm just sticking with Stephen Thompson here. I think that obviously someone pointed out his knee issues, which that did make me think a little bit. It's a little bit of an interesting thing, but overall I feel like he's going to be fine, man. He's taking a significant amount of time off to repair that, and I think that he's in a fight where he's not going to have to be sprawling, going up and down, and, you know, he could win this fight. So I'm going to pick Stephen Thompson. I am going to say it's going to be a decision, man. I don't think that he's going to finish Pettis. I think that Pettis is a tough guy. And Pettis obviously has those problems with quitting, but I don't think that Stephen Thompson is going to put on that sustained pace on him like these other guys and be able to get him out of there like that. So I'm going to say that he's able to weather the storm of Stephen Thompson and go to decision, but I think that Thompson's going to just be, you know, a step ahead of him. He's going to be able to win the fight fairly convincingly. But just to recap my plays, I have 2-unit play on Justin Willis, the 2.5-unit play on Stephen Ocho Peterson, the half-unit play on Ocho Peterson inside the distance. Then I have a 3-unit parlay on Stephen Thompson and Macy Barber. And I have a 1.5-unit parlay that I placed earlier in the week on Chris Gutierrez and Cheeto Vera at plus 154 odds, which, like I said, I'm a little nervous on that bet with Chris Gutierrez. But overall, I like the plays that I have this week. And if I was to tell you guys just like a quick play to make on these certain fights, I would say with Shelton versus Jordan Espinosa, I would say probably a dog or pass fight for that card. I think that Jordan Espinosa at least warrants that much respect that you wouldn't bet on Shelton as the favorite against him. And I think that fight definitely will go the distance. For Gutierrez against Ryan McDonald, I'm going to go with Gutierrez inside the distance. McDonald gets hit a lot. Definitely think that Gutierrez could put him away. So that's what I'm going with. I think that's going to be a finish for him in that fight. So under 2.5 rounds. For Randall Marcos, Angela Hill, obviously I feel like you should stay away from both those fights. Alexis Davis, Jennifer Maia, Randall Marcos, Angela Hill. I think you should stay away from those fights in terms of picking winners. But do you think that the over 2.5 rounds, obviously that's not going to be very fruitful in terms of the line. I don't even know the line, but definitely think that both those will probably go over 2.5 rounds, you would imagine. And if you could find a prop where you could say one person wins by split decision on both of those fights, I mean, you'll probably cash one of them, so it might be an interesting thing to do there. But Marlon Vera, Frankie Saenz, picking Marlon inside the distance, so under 2.5 rounds there. And I think he's going to be able to get it done in that second round. And Bobby Moffett, Bryce Mitchell. I'm going to pick Bobby Moffett by decision, but I really wouldn't be surprised if he got a submission here, but going to be a decision for me. For Barber, JJ Aldridge, going to be a decision there, but I could see Barber potentially getting the finish if she's better on the ground than JJ anticipates type thing. Steven Peterson, Luis Pena, everyone already knows Peterson by finishing that one. For Juicy A. Davison, I think it's going to go over 2.5 rounds if you favor Juicy A. If you favor Davison, I mean, I would say you could also play the under 2.5 rounds, because I think that if you think Davison's going to win, you probably think he's going to be able to finish Formiga there. So, yeah, that's my analysis there. For Makdessi, Jesus Pinedo, I kind of feel like that fight's going to happen inside the distance, because I feel like if Pinedo is going to lose, I think that he's going to go for it. I think that he's going to be able to put himself in enough harm's way where John Makdessi is either going to be able to tag him with the shot, finish him off, or Pinedo's going to finish. So, yeah, I'm going to say John Makdessi gets a mid-round finish in that fight. And then for Curtis Blaydes, Justin Willis, you're going to pick Justin Willis by decision in that fight. But I wouldn't be surprised if Curtis Blaydes got finished. I said earlier in the week that I thought Justin Willis would get the finish, but I'm going to say it goes to a decision there. So over 2.5 rounds. And then for the Thompson-Pettis fight, I also feel like that fight's going to go to decision. So, yeah, so that's going to be my post-weigh-in breakdown for this fight card. And make sure to comment, like, subscribe, give a donation on PayPal if you're feeling friendly. And thanks for watching, guys. Share it with your friends as well. And good luck on your bets this weekend. Have fun watching the fights.